From the opposite direction, he found this bearded man, very holy looking type of a person, approaching him. But he knew him because that holy man was in a village across the river where my father used to live. Our village was on the bank of the Kabul River on the south, and our Maulvi Mohammed Ilyas, who became our Nana, he was living across the river in a village, Prang. So they knew each other. From that, they had no other connection. He never met him before talking to him, but he just knew that he's a man. So he said, when I looked at him, I was not willing to meet him because, my father didn't have a good reputation. So he said I could not avoid him. We suddenly faced each other. And he looked at me and I said, Assalamu alaikum. He said, oh, what are you doing here? Oh, I said, just come for a few days. He said, where are you going? So my father said, just to get rid of him. I told in a way, maybe called a lie or otherwise. But I told him, oh, I'm going for the Friday prayer, to the mosque. So he said, well, I'm going to the Friday prayer too. So why don't you come? Come in, let's go together. So my father said, I knew that this man is being called kafir. Kafir, infidel. That he's not a Muslim or something. So, but he didn't know anything about Ahmadiyyat or anything. So he said, I wanted to avoid him, but he was insisting that come and follow me. And you come to, I'm going to pray also. So he said, I thought, why not see what type of prayer they offer. I didn't know as to whether there's any difference in the prayer that these people offer or we offer. So he said, I followed him. He said, when I went to the house, they were not having their congregation in a mosque. There was no mosque. It was somebody's house. And in that house there was a little hall. So he said in that hall there was quite a few Ahmadis who were sitting there. And some were coming in. He said, I went in also. And I sat in a corner. So when the time came for sermon, my grandfather, he got up and he started delivering a sermon. And he started talking about Surah Baqarah, where there is a mention about the people who call themselves to be Muslim or Mu'min, but they are not Mu'min, they are Munafiq, which means, in your word, Munafiq, the sorry?
Bigots.
There's another word for it. They are the one.
Non-believers.
No. There's another word. So I'll remember it. So he said that I thought that so he was talking all about such people. That Munafiq is one who tells lie. Hypocrite, yeah. Munafiq was hypocrite. So he said he was talking all about hypocrite from Quran. And in Quran he said, he was telling me Quran says hypocrite is one who tells lie, hypocrite one who kills others, hypocrite one who unnecessarily try to beat others, all things that he mentioned. And he said, I knew that I have all those bad things in me, all bad qualities. So he said he brought me today here not to give a sermon, but he brought me to insult me in presence of others, because he knew that I'm that type of a person. So he said, I was furious as to, why this man brought me just to insult me. That's why he was insisting, come and pray with us in Jummah prayer. So he said, I left that place, and for almost 5 days, I was thinking about it. Because I never, ever in my life, till then, was ever insulted by anyone like this. So he said, I decided that next time I'm going to see this man and at least beat him up. So he said, try to see him, to come out, to follow him, but it never happened. But then suddenly, somehow, I thought before doing that, before going and beating him up, let's go quietly without telling him for the next Friday and sit there and watch what is he talking. Is he talking the same thing or something else? If he's talking something else, that means that particular sermon was for me, that he was insulting me. But if something like this relevant to that he's talking, then I'll see, well, probably it's not me. Everybody's like this was addressed. So he said, I went there quietly. There was a pillar in that hall. I sat behind the pillar, wrapped a chadar around me. He said after a while, without seeing me, he came and he went to the mosque and stood there where the Imam stands to give a khutbah. So he started the sermon and he continued the same subject of Surah Baqarah. And he started talking further about hypocrite, what hypocrite is. So he said, I then realized that it was not for me, and he was not pointing towards me. It was a general topic that God is telling us who a hypocrite is and who is a mu'min, a believer. So he said, came out and went home, and I was really disturbed and telling myself that God, who addresses those who are hypocrite, I'm one of them. And so I kept thinking myself, am I a hypocrite? And then I would say, well, yeah, I'll do this bad thing, that bad thing, that bad. So I am the one. So he said, I just didn't know what to do. So he said, it was one night, it was cold, and it was snowing outside. I was inside my room, and I was thinking about this thing. When suddenly, he said, either I was awake, maybe a kashf, or I was a little asleep, drowsy, but I saw that the door opened of my room, a man with a lantern in his hand and a white beard and with a stick in his hand. He kept walking towards me, and he said I was looking at him, but I was motionless. I couldn't even move my hand because I kept all the time a pistol around behind my pillow, because I was scared, because I knew I was a bad man, somebody could kill me. And I couldn't even try to pick that pistol. I didn't know what to do. But I was motionless and watching him. He said, he came straight to my bed, stood where my legs are, and he got hold of my that finger from the leg, and he moved me like this. He said, well, have you realized that Quran, who considers somebody to be hypocrite, you are that hypocrite? He said it 2-3 times, and then he said, if that is the case, then try to do bayat. You know bayat?
What is there?
Huh?
Yeah, to
You pledge your allegiance to
Religious.
the person, so we do that to Hazrat Sahib, to the Khalifa.
Understand? Huh? So he said, do bayat.
say we are Ahmadi, we pledge with the Khalifa.
So he said, and then he got up, then he went away. Then he said the next night, again the same thing happened. The man would just knock the door, and then he would walk in, and I would be motionless. And again he would say, don't you think the Quran calls someone to be hypocrite? You have all those qualities and indications in you. And then he would walk away. He said when he did that 3-4 times, so I realized that probably I become mad. And I went to a barber, and I narrated the story. You know, you have to do that. Somebody said, take that medicine. Somebody said, jinn is probably bothering you. You have got a jinn. You know jinn? In the Holy Quran, there's a mention that there is type of creation was called jinn, and they are not seen otherwise, but they are operating. So, so he said the jinn has empowered you, and probably he is now bothering you. So he said, I thought that maybe before I become worse physically, I wrapped a muffler around my head, wrote a letter to my father that I have become mad. Some jinn has
Please.
now overpowered me, and please come and take me away because I don't know if I will be able to travel by train because I'm not in a good state mentally. So he said I was carrying that letter to post it in the post office. He said while I was approaching the post office, there was another man. He said he was also in Ahmadi, but uh, people called him Qadiani, but I didn't know what it means. I never even knew about Qadiani Ahmadiyya. So he saw me with a muffler wrapped to my head. He said, what happened to you? You got a headache or something? I said, no, I don't have a headache, but there's some jinn, he has overpowered my body. And, he's telling me to bath. So he said, why don't you do bath? So I said, then what will happen? What is bath? He said, the jinn would not come to bother you. So I said, what is bath? Because I didn't know whether bath means cow or sheep or something. I never heard of this word bath. He said, no, I'll get you a form, just sign it and that will be done. So I said, then what will happen? He said, the jinn won't bother you. I said, is it a promise? He said, yeah. I said, I'm prepared to do anything to get rid of this jinn. So he bought me a form and I put my thumb impression also, think whatever I could do, and I sent him. I said, that night when I came home and slept, I slept like hell because no jinn was there, nobody to bother me, no man coming in. I really enjoyed my sleep because I had not slept for many days. Next day, third day, and I was very peaceful with myself. He said this news traveled to Nana Jan Moli Muhammad Ilyas that he has done bayat. And during that period, he says, within 7 days, I received a card from Mufti Muhammad Sadiq Sahab, who is one of the disciples of the Prophet Messiah, a Sahabi companion, that your bayat has been accepted by Khalifa Sani and he wants you to learn Quran and be regular in your prayers and this. So he said, when that card came, the postmaster, because the dog was always seen by the postmaster who got whose pet. So he said, when I went to collect that card, the postmaster said, come here. I said, what? He said, look, I had also done bayat long time ago. But Mirza Sahib says that he is a Nabi. So I'm no more an Ahmadi. I told him, that's it. Because I don't believe in an Nabi. So what have you done? So he said, my father said, I told him, I don't know whether Nabi is to come or not to come. I got rid of that jinn, and that's the only thing that I enjoy. I have first class sleep, and nobody bothers me. And I'm not worried whether the Nabi comes or he doesn't come. I don't know these things. Because he was not, he didn't know anything. So he said that news traveled to Nana Jan. Because that Ahmadi told my Nana Jan that, I got a bath form filled from so and so. So I told him this. Mauli Muhammad Ijaz, about whom Murabi Sahib also talks in the Ramadan dust. So he said, he came to me and he said, have you done a bath? I said, yes. He said, why? I said, just to get rid of jinn. So he said, no, the jinn will totally go away if you learn the Holy Quran. So he said, I told him that I don't want to learn the Holy Quran because when I was a child, my mother sent me to